So this is obviously like a new sort of environment. I'm used to actually speaking to the person in person, one on one, and this is a first trial for this. So we'll try and avoid any kind of fucking awkwardness or yeah. There's going to be teething problems, but if there is
Bro,
someone that I get
it's
away with, it's going to be you. So that's
it's
fine.
it's me. There's not going to be any awkwardness. No.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Right. So first off, how are you? How's your day been?
I'm good.
Good.
Pretty tired. Day's been the usual.
The usual for you.
Check-ins, train, more work.
Nice. You're pretty married to your routine, aren't you?
Oh, I have to be.
Have to be.
That's the problem, I think. Um, because if I don't have a set routine, it won't all get done.
Have you had that throughout your life, or is it like because I know that you've worked in several different industries, which we'll touch on in a sec, but in terms of working in your other jobs and other sectors, have you always had that kind of like OCD kind of mentality?
Yeah, mate, you literally just took those three letters out of my mouth. I was going to say OCD. I've always been like a person for timekeeping. Like I have a phobia of being late. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like when people are late. For me, I find it fucking disrespectful. So, like, yeah, I've always been like on it with just like I've got to be in this place at this time so I can get this done. Whatever. So I've always been a bit anal with that. And then I think just as everything's over the last like 4 years has just got busier and busier and busier. It's like, right, if I don't keep up with that OCD, I don't keep up with my life, essentially. But I also like that. Like, I couldn't be a guy that's like, oh, I'll just wake up when I wake up.
Yeah.
Oh, my life doesn't work like that. Or I'll go to the gym. I'll go to the gym tonight instead of no. I'll go at the same time every day.
Yeah, I think being a client of yours, one major thing that I've taken away from you is generally just quality of service, and there's always something that you've kind of said is ingrained in me, and that's like, yeah, you're self-employed, but you need to still treat it
Like,
as a job. Wake up at the same time, working hours, that kind of thing. Um, what was kind of because you're obviously you're mad successful now. You work with X amount of people, dozens, and I don't want to ask you how many clients you've got, but is it over 100 at the moment?
yeah, I normally float between like 130 to 140.
That's fucking wild. Um, so there's obviously got to be an element of time management there. Have you had that from like day dot when you were back in school and then going through your different careers?
School was a waste of time for me.
Okay.
Like, I don't like learning about things that I don't want to learn about, so I just switch off. I don't want to revise for things that I don't really care about. Like, it's just never been a thing. But what I always noticed with school, if I started something that I enjoyed, I had to be the best at it.
Okay.
It was like, right, if I'm going to start playing tennis, I want the best racket and I want to become the best in the school or whatever. Same with football, same with golf. Like any sport that I did, I was like, right, I've got to get really good at this. Unfortunately, I wasn't that great at most of them, but that's when I'd be like, nah, fuck this ain't for me.
Yeah.
And in terms of like work, when I worked a proper job, again, when I enjoyed it, yeah, man, I was like in a routine. I knew what I was doing, and I'd be in a certain place at a certain time, do this, do that. But as soon as I didn't enjoy it, it just went, and I was just like, right, I'm doing something else.
At what point? Because I know you've worked car sales, you've worked hospitality.
Yeah.
Where else have you worked before getting into coaching?
How far do you want to take it back?
Literally, as soon as you left school, man.
Well, I had jobs when I was working in school. When I was at school, like I always worked whilst I was at school because I knew that like university wasn't going to be a thing for me because it's just that would have been the biggest waste of money and time that anyone's ever done. So yeah, my first actual job, I was a paintball marshal.
A paintball marshal. What the fuck is that?
You know paintballing?
Yes.
I was like one of the marshals that worked there.
As in you referee it.
Well, you just keeping an eye on things.
Quickly touch on that. How do you even get into that?
A friend I knew was doing it.
Okay.
And he was like, oh, they pay you cash. And I was like, oh, sweet. And it's just a Saturday and it's a decent laugh and they feed you and that. I was like, oh, sweet, man, I'll just do that.
Okay.
I was kind of, bro, when I was growing up, I was like, I'll do anything to make money.
Yeah.
I didn't care what it was. I remember there was times where I had like 3 jobs at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Lloyd's TSB, I was a Saturday boy there when I was like 16, 17. Cash in number 4, please. Let's go. That made me want to kill myself, and it was only like 4 hours a week. But back then, it was like fucking good money.
Yeah.
For that 4 hours, I was like, oh man, rolling in it. And then say like my first proper job, it wasn't really a proper job. I worked at Vodka Revs.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. And it was in a pretty rough area, put it that way. Mate, when I think back to hospitality, I used to have a fucking right laugh.
Yeah. It's very stressful.
Yes.
But it's good fun. I think the way to view it is the bad times are really bad and the good times are really good. There's no kind of like middle ground.
No, not at all. It's either running really smooth or it's gone to absolute shit.
Yeah.
But no, I used to love that, man. And then I stayed in bars for like 7 years.
Okay.
And kind of just like worked my way up. Again, I'm very much like if I'm not moving forward, I'm fucking moving backwards. Mm-hmm. So it's like, right, if there's a better opportunity that comes, cool, I'll go do it. I've got no like, it sounds bad, I've got no like loyalties to places because it's just a big organisation.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I ended up working in like quite a big venue in the middle of a town that was like wedding venue. There was like 7 bars inside. There was a rooftop terrace. There was a cocktail lounge. There was a club, a la carte restaurant, and then like a bistro and stuff like that. And I ended up being like general manager of that.
Nice.
So I looked after quite a lot of people. But it ended up being, and this kind of like leads into coaching, I think, anyway.
Okay.
Being good as a coach. Like, they didn't want me to be anywhere near the bar. They didn't want me to be in the restaurant and stuff. They wanted me to just like act like I fucking own the place. So
Okay.
like be a bit of a showman. So get to know everyone. And when you're meeting, and on obviously the lead up to this as well, you develop these skills when you're just working on a bar. Mm-hmm. You meet thousands of people a week. And you build up a rapport with those people. And you get the most tips because you know everyone. Mm-hmm. All that kind of thing. And it was just like, I think when you meet 1,000 different personalities every week, you get good at handling 1,000 different personalities and knowing what makes someone tick, or you know what they do like, what they don't like, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think how, in terms of maybe like being with friends, or would you say that you were a popular kid like in school growing up, like socially active and a bit of a people person?
I've always been a people person.
Okay.
Always, but to be fair, I was bullied by the older kids in school. Yeah. But I definitely had like a lot of friends at school.
Okay.
Like my year, I definitely had a lot of friends. But teachers would always say the same. They either loved me or they fucking hated me.
Yeah.
Because I've always had a big personality. Like, I'm loud.
Yeah.
And some people don't like that.
Well, I think it's what makes you stand out in like the coaching scene. I know for me personally, like I worked in hospitality for most of my like adult life. And the skills that I took from that, like I was not a shy kid. I had friends, but like I wasn't a people person. I didn't have the confidence to speak to people. I was just fucking even worse chat than I have now. Whereas working in hospitality, you learn how to actually interact with other human beings, and as you said, kind of become a little bit of a chameleon in terms of how to not just shift your personality to suit a specific person, but yeah, how to interact with different people and suit and please them, I guess.
Yeah.
Would you say that, like, as you sort of got out of hospitality, kind of looking back, do you think the skills that you got there have definitely benefited you in the coaching world?
100%. 100%, because, like, I'm very much a person that, like, it's not my way or the fucking highway. You have to adapt. Like, you have to be a chameleon. Like you just said, like, not everyone's going to respond well to you having a go at them. Some people, you need to hold their hand. Some people need more attention than others. Some need zero attention whatsoever. Here's the plan, go fucking do it. Yes, Sam, speak to you next week. Yeah. Some people, it's like, right, let's sort out your fucking life, okay, first, because everything's a fucking shit show. And kind of like, holding their hand through the process, which, at the end of the day, every different person I coach, they're all paying my wages, and it's just a different part of the job that I've got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
I think just with the way that like you can't be an online coach nowadays without having an online presence, and I think putting yourself out there online at the beginning, and for a lot of people, can be very, very daunting. I think one thing that I've taken from being behind a bar in front of hundreds of people weekend after weekend is that overcoming that fear of just putting myself out there. If you make a cunt of yourself, who cares? Get over it, move on, progress. So where did you move on from after hospitality?
Touching on that, what you just said there, where like there's fucking hundreds of people in front of you. I used to love that.
Yeah. I got to a point where I definitely thrived in it.
Yeah, I used to love it. Like, right, everyone's watching, man. I've got to put on a fucking sick show here. Like, I want people to think, fuck me, this guy is sick at his job.
Yeah. I agree. I remember, so this is like in my early 20s. I worked for Revs as well, but I worked for like the other side of the brand, Rev de Cuba.
Yes.
And I would purposely ask for like the busiest station on a Saturday night, because I knew it was going to be stressful as fuck, but I would much rather that high volume getting shagged all night and trying to almost entertain people and just interact with heaps of different people than just stand on a quiet station where, you know, it's very, very slow and it's just like pulling pints or whatever.
Yeah, I have to be fast paced. Like if I'm sitting down doing nothing, I'm thinking, fuck, something's going wrong.
Yeah.
So after I went into a bit of the corporate side of hospitality, which I didn't enjoy, just wasn't me. And then went into car sales.
You're a big car person, so I'm assuming you've thrived there.
Yeah, I love cars. I don't necessarily like a sales environment, but I just thought, you know, I'm very much like my dad has been a salesman his whole life. I thought I can fucking sell these. That'd be easy. And for a long while it was, but I didn't. I don't like being told what to do. And I don't like having to jump through hoops to sell something. It should just be like, do you want it or not? Whereas I've got to sell you fucking Gap. I've got to sell you alloy wheel insurance. I've got to try and sell you fucking paint protection that doesn't even fucking work because the people down the road are not even applying it. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm not big on that. It's just like, I just want to sell the car, get on to the next deal.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I walked in. Car sales is like notorious. If you look at adverts online, must have experience. And I've never sold a car in my life. And I've always been a believer of like, if I was applying for jobs, I'd just go in. I don't send my CV online because my CV did fuck all for me. Because I worked in bars and I had no qualifications. Like I still now have no qualifications. And I remember I went in and I said, I heard there's a sales job going. And he was like, well, the boss is away on holiday at the moment. I said, well, can you send him a message? Tell him there's a lad here who wants a job and let me know when he's back in. And he was like, fair play, you've got some balls. And I was like, yeah. So I got the guy's name and I said, when's he back? And he was like, Wednesday. I was like, okay, get him to give me a call on Wednesday. Here's my number, here's my details. Just tell him to give me a call. And no one called me on Wednesday, so I went in again on Thursday. And that guy was there, and I was like, are you Will? And he was like, yeah, why? And I was like, you were meant to ring me yesterday.
How old were you here?
I was like 25, 26.
Fucking hell, okay. I didn't have that confidence at that age.
Well, I just thought, you know, what's the fucking worst that can happen? He says, fuck off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All right, on to the next one. And yeah, so he was like, oh, what's it about? I said, there's a job going. I said, I want you to interview me. Like, I would send you my CV, but like, it doesn't really do anything for me. So I'd rather just sit and have a chat with you, like, and just interview me. And he was like, fucking, I think he was a bit taken aback, but that guy, Will Ayres, fucking, the guy's a legend. We're very similar. Like, he was the class clown. Like, just like I was at school. Like, he's just fucking loud. And I thought, I'm going to get on with this guy. He said, okay, I can come in for an interview on Monday. I was like, right, sweet. Went on Monday. We just literally basically just had a chat. And I was like, I know I've got no qualifications like to sell cars, but I can fucking sell cars like I know I can. So we got chatting. One of the questions he actually asked me was like, "Don't take this personally, but do you take steroids?" And I was thinking, "Fucking hell." I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "I just don't want it to affect your mood in the fucking office and shit like that." And I was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna like start smashing the place up. I might start crying or something if I don't get a deal, but that's about it." And he was like, "Well, I like you, but I've got to speak to the head of business who is over in BMW. So we'll go and see him now. I'll let him know we're coming over." I was thinking, "Oh, fucking hell." And I walked in, and the first thing this guy said to me was, "I already don't like you." And I was like, "Right." I said, "Well, I haven't said anything." And he was like, "Well, sit down." He was like, "This guy likes you, but why should him?" I was thinking, fucking hell, I don't like this environment here. And to this day, I think that guy's an absolute prick. Because he just like had it in for me for day one. Until I actually like kind of took, this sounds awful, I kind of like took him outside for a chat. Because he took the piss out of me in the office in front of everyone. And like everyone laughed. And I felt like such a prick. And I just went out to him and I was like, "Have you actually got a problem with me or something?" And he's like, "What are you on about?" I said, "Don't fucking take the piss out of me in front of everyone in the office and have everyone laugh at me, because it ain't on." I was like, "You made me feel like such a dick and you shouldn't do that to your members." And fuck mate, he didn't know what to say.
I was going to say, did it ever happen again after that?
Well, no. And then he rang me from his personal phone on his way home and like apologised. But ever since, I've been back there a few times and seen him, and he's never happy to see me.
I wonder why.
Turn up in a fucking McLaren.
Yeah, fuming.
Yeah, absolutely fuming. But I just got to a point there when it was, I was racking up clients online as I was working there, and I was thinking, you know, this might be a way out for me.
Okay.
And
so you were into bodybuilding.
Yeah. I'd been into bodybuilding for quite a long time whilst I was there. I was always like, when they were going out for staff meals, I was like, "I ain't coming. I'm going to the gym. I'm eating my own food or whatever." And they didn't like it. They didn't like it at all. And they would take the piss and stuff like, "Oh, are you eating again?" Or, "What have you got today?" I'm like, "The same thing I've been having for the last 2 years I've been here, mate. Like, it's just not funny anymore." And I kind of got to the point where I was like, I don't like being around certain people in there, and I just want to fucking do my own thing. And I'd always said to my dad, like, I want to do my own thing, I just don't know what it is. So when was COVID? 2020? Yeah. So like January that year, I remember I was at work and I was like, right, I need to make a plan of how to get out of here. And I had about 25 clients at the time. And I'm kind of someone that, taking a risk scares the shit out of me. It really does. Like, I have to be 300% sure it's going to work. So I was like, right, I've got 25 now, I can handle that and this job, because I just did all my work on my days off. I'll try and get to 50 and then I'll leave. Looking back now, I would not have been able to do 50 and that job at the same time. It wouldn't have been the level of service that I wanted to do. But I was like, right. Yeah. So I was like, right, I'm going to do merchandise. I'm going to start a brand, essentially, and that's when I thought of Coached by Christian. And I launched that actually during COVID. But it was like March when everything started to shut, wasn't it? So I remember I was there on a Sunday, and I was doing client work whilst I was in there, because all this lockdown, like, people would message me saying, "Oh, bro, I've been sent home from work, can't go into work, like, can't go to the gym. Like, what do I do?" And I was making plans. And then my boss came in and was like, "They're shutting the dealership." I was thinking, oh, fuck. And when all this was going out, I was thinking, I'm going to lose every client now, and it's going to be tits up. So the first week, I lost like one client and gained like 11. And I was like, well, fucking hell, this could work. So I just went fucking all in, bro. Like, I was doing YouTube videos like 3 or 4 times a week. I was doing a diet at the time for a photo shoot, which I carried on doing and did the photo shoot. And I was getting furlough pay, and it was a fucking decent one as well, because they were like paying like a percentage of your overall commission for the year, like, as an average.
As well as your salary?
As well as salary. But I mean, the salary in car sales, standard cut, is fucking dog shit.
Gosh.
But that's what they did at the start, and then everyone complained. And it's like, right, we're going to take an average of your last 12 months commission and add that on as well. And we were like, fucking.
That's not bad.
So I was going mental on coaching, and like getting a decent whack a month. And bro, they were shut for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I remember them ringing me. It was actually Luke, the guy who didn't like me, rang me. Well, no, he first rang me and was like, "Oh, is there any chance you can bring your laptop in to work?" And I was like, "Fuck, something's happened here. He's found out that I'm doing this coaching or whatever." And they're like, "It's nothing bad. It's just we're slowly bringing people back in, and there isn't enough laptops to go around because we want everyone to work from laptop, not in an office where there's loads of desktops because of COVID." And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't have my own fucking laptop, so I was doing all my work off the work laptop.
You were doing your coaching off your...
Yeah. I was too scared, bro, to go and buy like a new laptop because I thought, nah, it's not going to work. Do you know what I mean? Like the coaching thing. So I was like, yeah, I can bring it in like the next 2 days. I'm just not at home at the minute or something. So I had to go out and get a laptop, which I bought a second-hand one because I was like, I don't want to spend too much money. And then it was about a month later, they'd started like slowly bringing people back in, and I was one of the last. Which that worked well for me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And he was like, "Yeah, we're going to get you in on the Wednesday." And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely fine." And this was like the week before. And like immediately, mate, my heart, I was like, "Fuck!" Like I've got to leave because by that point I had about 85 clients. Yeah.
What were you? Sorry, just to interrupt quickly. What were you doing during? I know you said you were doing YouTube. What was your different strategy when COVID and lockdown hit? What did you say to yourself that you needed to do to rack up that amount of clients?
Bro, I don't even know. Like, I look back and you know what I was doing? Everything that I do now.
Yeah.
Just always, like, the biggest thing for me is talking to the camera. Mm-hmm. It drives the most engagement, 100%. If I pick up the camera and talk to it, people interact with me. Simple as that. And because I was putting out so much content on YouTube, which was, mate, when I look back at it, it was absolutely fucking awful. But people were bored.
Yeah.
So they'd fucking watch it. And I think they'd see me do the photo shoot. Then I launched Coach by Christian. I think it was just like flavour of the month. Mm-hmm. And I just fucking went with it. And I was like, right, just keep doing it. But I remember being in my parents' back garden when I got to like 50 clients. Mm-hmm. And I was saying to my dad, like, oh, I feel like I'm going to have a breakdown. Like, I can't do this. And he was like, well, there's the limits of your business. Like, if you can't manage more than that, that's your ceiling. And I was like, oh, okay. But then like a month went by and I was like, yeah, I could probably do more than this. Then it got to 60, shit myself, got used to it. Got to 70, shit myself, got used to it. And just got better and more efficient and better service and just learned how to do it more time efficient.
So specifically at what point did you say, fuck that job, I'm going self-employed?
Probably about 2 weeks after they furloughed me. I was like, I'm going to fuck it, I've got to do this. Like, this is going to work. But then when it came to doing it, man, I did not feel well.
It's, I think it's definitely something to be said for anyone that's making that sort of leap from going employed to self-employed. It's fucking scary. Yeah. And it's as much as people say like, "Oh, burn the ships and go fucking all in," and there's no plan B. It is fucking terrifying, and I think you need to manage a few things in terms of having that nest egg, but yeah, you need to understand as well at the same time that it's application. It's going to be fucking hard graft. You're going to have a bit of a shit time at the very beginning, but it does pay off.
Yeah, bro. I remember, like I said again, I run everything by my dad. My dad does all my accounts. He looks after all that side of the business, so he's very heavily involved in business. Mm-hmm. I remember saying to him, like, when I actually quit, I was like, I'm going to have to work 7 days a week now until this fucking has done its fucking thing. And I did, man. I'll like a lot and I still say it to myself, man, I've been lucky here. And there is an element of that. I do think there is an element of luck that's happened. But at the same time, I would love someone to sit here and do my job.
Yeah.
And not have a mental breakdown. Like, good luck. Like, on the lead up to that, I have worked my bollocks off. Like, I have. And I know I have. And I'm proud of that. And I'm glad I can say that now because this is probably the first time I've ever said that.
Because you're someone that's riddled with imposter syndrome, aren't you?
Oh yeah, massive. And bro, when they rang me to leave, to come back to work, and in my head I'm thinking, fuck, it's the last time you're going to see me, mate. Like, I didn't know what to do. I was just like, fuck, because I can't give you a notice because I can't work it. And they'd said come in on the Wednesday, and I went in on the Tuesday. And I just bought a BMW M3 at the time, and I was buzzing my tits off, bro. I remember because when this happened, when I thought I'm going to make this my thing, I had 2 cars at the time. I had like a track car for the weekends and stuff, and then I just had like a car that just took me to work and back. And I was like, I'm selling them because I need some money behind me just in case this don't work. Yeah. And I bought a shed to get me around in, and that shed lasted 28 days because I was like, at the end of that 20 days, I was like, fuck this is going to work. So I went and bought what at the time was like dream car, and I drove it into work, and I rang my boss, the one that I liked, and I said, bro, I'm outside, can you just come out? I didn't want to go in, I was like so scared. And he came out, and I was still in the car, and I just wound down the window. He's like, you're right, bro, I thought you were coming in tomorrow. I was like, yeah, I am, but I need to talk to you. And he went silent for like 5 seconds. He was like, you're leaving? I went, yeah. And he was like, is it to do the coaching? I was like, yeah. And he was like, fucking fair play. And he was like, I said, I don't know what you want me to do though. Like, I can't give you any notice. And he was like, come inside because I don't know what you need to do either. So he got HR down, and they were like, literally, if you can't work another day, this is your last time here. So you just do a letter of resignation and just say you're not working. And
that's how it ended.
There was sound, man. Like, and my boss, like, I still speak to him now and again, and he's just like, bro, I'm fucking proud of you, like, what you're doing now, and like, all this sort of stuff. And he's still there, and like, if I don't live near there now, but if I did, I like popping in, I like seeing him, because like, man, he told me to go for it as well.
That's the kind of people you need in your life where, I don't know, when you're maybe a little bit shit scared about going for it, and they're like, you know what, fucking just do it. Like, someone actually backing you up rather than trying to talk you down. Just kind of touching back on what you were saying, like when you were working in the car dealership and you'd be going out for meals and you'd be taking your meals with you and they'd be slagging you off. I don't think that's even necessarily just in the bodybuilding world. Like, I work with lifestyle clients where, I don't know, it's Elaine who's 43 trying to lose a little bit of weight, and she's got her meal prep in at work and people are slagging her off for it. It's just, I feel like those kind of comments just come from a place of bitterness and jealousy. Insecurity is actually the word that I'm looking for, where they see you saying, okay, well, this is one thing that I want to achieve, the work that I'm going to put in for it, and they just don't feel like they're capable of doing that thing themselves. So rather than admitting and holding their hands up and saying, I'm not capable of doing that, it's just easier to slag you off for it. And the same rules apply here. Yeah. So having that kind of positivity is, I wish there was more people like it in the world.
Yeah, same. And I remember then driving home, mate, and I was literally like out of breath. Like, my heart was, because I've recorded a video saying like I've just quit my job. I've still got the video on my phone. I looked at it earlier because it's coming up to 4 years, and I was going to do like a reel.
Oh, of course.
It's me. And yeah, I remember driving, mate, and I'm just thinking, fuck, like, I haven't got to go to work tomorrow. Like, my work is now me. And I was, oh man, I shit myself. I had like 85 clients. I was like, right, 84 are going to leave tomorrow.
Yeah.
I still think like that, bro, to this day. Like, less so now, for sure. Like, I definitely know that I've built up like a decent name now. That people they do just come.
Yeah.
But I still have that fear in the back of my head. But I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps you.
I don't relax.
Yeah, well, that's it. It keeps you It keeps your foot on the gas. I get that same sort of fear where, and I think it's a big reason as to why I'm still in the city that I'm in, because I have this fear that if I move city or whatever, I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning, I'm going to have a text from 50 plus people saying, you're a cunt, fuck off. And then that's me done. And there's absolutely no data or evidence to suggest that that's going to happen. There's actually plenty of evidence to just suggest the opposite, but that's still just that fear in the back of your head that you're going to wake up one morning and everyone's going to be like, fuck off.
Yeah.
It's irrational as fuck. I don't understand where it comes from.
No, same. But yeah, and then it just all worked out.
Yeah, it just all worked out. Where did Coach by Christian lead into the Physique Collective? Because we've had a conversation about this before, but it was very, very brief. And that conversation sort of going on the professional side very quickly led to not so professional conversation. But I just kind of wanted to know where.
What are about?
Yeah, we'll save that for when the camera's off. Where Coach by Christian led into the Physique Collective.
So, oh man, feels like so long ago that was, bro. I'd probably been doing my own thing for like 12 to 18 months, something like that.
Okay.
And I still worked with Joe Jeffrey as my coach, who every podcast I will always shout out, like, he is a massive catalyst as to where my business is now because of the knowledge. Like 100%. I learned everything from Joe, everything. And I knew a couple of the guys that he worked with, so like Matt Strong, Gareth, just like, you know, like your post on Insta, have a chat on DMs and stuff like that. And it was Gareth that came up with the idea, because Joe had a website at the time where he published all his stuff, like his articles and stuff like that, and it was free. And Gareth was kind of like, bro, why don't you try and not make this free? And we do like a subscription site thing and go into kind of like, not harm prevention of drugs, but like, as it was coined, physique development simplified.
Okay.
And I think the simplified thing came from me, because Joe can say all this stuff to me and bro, it goes over my head. So I thought, right, if I can understand it, 99.9% of people can understand it, because I'm very much hit it with me the simplest form and then I'll learn about it better. Yeah. So I thought, right, that could be a nice thing to do. And they just said, do you want to get involved? I think reasoning behind it with getting me involved was probably, one, the simplify thing, but the social media presence kind of side of it. Like, me and Joe were pretty popular at the time.
Okay.
I hate even saying that, but it was true. And, start a business with your mates. Cool, man. And it was good, man, and it was and still is successful. And I was probably doing it for, when did I launch Coach by Christian? Like, came back, and I haven't told many people this. I actually, because I had to change my Instagram name to Christian Physique Collective.
Yeah.
I took that as big. Like, I was not happy about it.
Oh, really?
Because I wanted to be coached by Christian.
Okay.
Because everyone knew me as that.
Yeah.
And what I did was I changed my name, and then I started a blank blank Instagram account with Coach by Christian, so no one could take it.
I was just a way to ask you that. I thought you were leading, because that fear of that username being taken, because coached by or trained by is very popular. Christian, it's not exactly like a rare name as well. So I'm imagining that fear of someone stealing the username if it was your identity.
At the time when I did do it, I was the only Coach by Christian.
Yeah.
And I don't want a dash or a number or anything in my name. I am Coached by Christian, the OG, and I'm never having. And I kind of think, in the back of my mind now, that was probably a thing of, if this don't work, I'm doing that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I already had my kind of revisions about it and stuff like that. But it was great, and it just got to a point where, look, I'm me, I'm my own thing. And I remember having to have the conversation. It felt like I was going into work and giving my
all over again.
Noticing again. I don't like stuff like that, mate. I get really nervous.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't me anymore. And I don't like spouting stuff that I don't believe in. So and Joe is very set in his way. This is the way. And if I didn't agree with it, I don't want to fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do things I don't want to do. And I just I didn't start to resent it. It wasn't me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mentioned it I pulled them all aside. I did the seminar with them, and I thought, I'm going to tell them all today. And I just said, look, I'm going to do my own thing. Like, I just don't think this is right anymore. So just buy me out my shares, and I will go from there. And they were all in agreement. Like, you are your own thing. Like, you will do better on your own. And I remember on the lead up to it, I need a voice of reason. I need to talk to people about it. because I like other people's opinions on stuff. And I remember I texted Cal. I was like, bro, can I talk to you a sec? And he was like, I already know what this is going to be about. And I was like, what are you on about? He was like, you're going to leave Physique Collective. I was like, how the fuck did you know that? He was like, because that's what you should do.
Yeah.
He was like, you are your own brand. Like, everyone still knows you as Coached by Christian. They don't think of it. And I feel like it was holding me back. So there was no fucking, Joe slept with my mom or something. Do you know what I mean? There's no fucking drama or anything like that. It was just not for me anymore.
You outgrew it.
Yeah. And man, when that happened, it blew up.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that's what my next point was going to be. But sorry, carry on.
It was like when I quit my job the first time, it was like doing it again. Mm-hmm. And it just went like inquiry.
Do you feel, when you left the first job, or you had that, you were set on that, and you threw everything at coaching, doing YouTube, etc., when you made the decision that you were leaving Physique Collective, do you think you had that same sort of mentality of, not that ever went away, but do you feel like that there was that, did you ever have a point of you thought you were going to leave Physique Collective and then you had to, again, go 150% to fucking make sure that Coached by Christian was even more successful?
I went mental.
Yeah.
I went mental with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big believer, bro, throw as much shit at the wall and it will stick. I was fucking here, there, and fucking everywhere. I can always remember people saying, like, when they message me, bro, I keep seeing you everywhere. That's the fucking point.
Yeah.
So when someone asks me on a podcast, I don't even know who the guy is. Yeah, man, I'll do that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll do anything. I'll be at the expo. I'll be at the shows. I'll be at your photo shoot. I'll be here. I'll be on this podcast. I'll do my own podcast. Like, I just went mental.
Say yes to everything.
Yeah. Where now I don't have to do that as much, but I like to. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna.
Well, I'm glad you said yes to this.
I was a bit 50-50.
And then I had to pay you, and then it was yes.
Already spent it.
Yeah. So you've now got 2 coaches underneath you.
Yeah.
How are you finding that from going? I mean, were you underneath Joe Jeffrey, or were you all kind of in line, or what was the sort of chat there in comparison to now?
It was all in line.
It was all in line. Cool. So how do you find being top dog and having 2 coaches underneath you?
Well, firstly, I don't see it like that. Because again, that's just not what I'm like. Like,
yeah,
I don't feel like I'm their boss.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just feel like they work with me.
Yeah, I like that.
Not for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've got their own shit going on as well. That was a fucking nerve-wracking thing. And because everyone had said it for probably like fucking over a year. Like, oh, when are you going to get coaches? When are you going to get... I'm like, when I want them or when I need them. Mm. And something just kind of clicked like, I think I need it now.
Yeah.
And then it's having to fucking find the right pair of dickheads. And me and Tim go a long way back, like probably like fucking 5 years. And I know he's shit hot at what he does. Mm-hmm. He's a very, very, very good coach. He loves bodybuilding. He knows the divisions inside out, especially men's physique. And the thing was for me is like, I need someone with the same work ethic, or at least similar, which is rare in this industry, in my opinion. But I already knew how he worked. I knew, he was working with a decent amount of clients, and some of his clients he was getting were good. And I knew he had a lot of people competing that year. I was like, I think that could be a good shout. And most importantly, we're mates.
Yeah.
We get on. And then we were chatting about, who else can we get? And I was, Tom fits a different niche to kind of me and Tim, because he's really young.
Yeah, I was going to say junior bodybuilders, young lads.
Yeah, he's a young lad, and when I spoke to him, I was like, how old are your clientele like? And he was like, 17 to 24. I was like, 17. Yeah, I've got some 17, 18-year-olds for sure, but without sounding disrespectful to 17, 18-year-olds, they haven't got the disposable income for what I want to charge people. And obviously, when you've got coaches underneath you, they're going to charge less than you. Yeah. So I thought, that's another avenue, and I like Tom, and we get on, and he'd also been at the time coached by me for 2 years, so I know he knows what service is. He loves coaching. He fucking loves it. And I think when he came to me, he had about like 20 clients, and obviously I have to send him his commission every month, and every month it's more, and he's at 61 clients now.
I'm fucking buzzing. Ace.
And he absolutely fucking loves it.
Yeah.
He comes to me with ideas for stuff like he had the idea for the 12-week challenges.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know how I feel about these. Fuck me, I wish I'd done them sooner.
Yeah. I thought it was a bit, it's not your usual thing. Well, it's the first time I've seen you do something like that, and I thought it was, I don't know, it just didn't seem like you at the time.
Yes.
But yeah, I think the fact that Tom's come to that, I think that's, I'm glad that they're sort of proving their worth, I guess.
Yeah, and it was kind of like, look, the first one, I'm going to chip in and help because I want to.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this is your idea, and I want it to be your thing. So we did the first one, went really well. He also, like, this is the best thing about Tom for me. He had a couple of people drop off during the challenge, like you would, we all did. But all the ones that he had at the end, all stayed on and signed up for actual coaching.
Yeah.
Every one of them. And I was like, man, like, you should be buzzing with that, because they're not going to sign off if they didn't enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? And so he's kept all of them. And we've now done the second challenge, and we've had just as many sign-ups for it. And this is what I know I needed to do, is get better at delegation.
Okay.
I don't do any of it. So I do none of it now. And Tim and Tom handle it all. Tom, the majority. Because he likes doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's, it's a great cash fucking bump when you do a challenge. And I haven't had to actually do any of the work. So from a business standpoint, it's really fucking good for me.
It makes a lot of sense for you. I think it's also really good for Tom as well, because you have a boatload of people that are pretty committed to getting just a result. So by the end of those 12 weeks, there's this, I mean, he's not exactly inexperienced, but he's coming out of that with new potential client sign-ups and just a fucking bank of results as well at the same time.
And he's also getting paid.
Well, yeah.
And we actually split it all evenly.
That's good of you.
Yeah. Whereas, look, I know what other coaches do, and it ain't that.
How do you ever sort of take a sit back and think about, like, we were speaking about, when you were thinking about leaving the dealership and then going full-time coaching, do you ever take a moment and think about that fear of, fuck, this isn't going to work, to then present time and being, I mean, let's be honest, you're one of the most successful top coaches in the UK. That's a fair statement.
I'm not answering that.
Well, okay, I'm saying that. If we take an objective, like, sit back and look at it in terms of, I guess, not just results, but overall, I know how much you're fucking making. But if we just look at those two things, I mean, you're definitely up there. There's no question about it. So I guess my question is, how do you ever, I don't know, get moments where you're just like, how the fuck has this happened? Or how does it generally make you feel?
Do you want to know how many times I think, how the fuck has this happened?
Daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every day.
I love it.
Like, I just think, what the fuck has happened, man?
Yeah.
Because in the world of, like, business, 90% of companies go bust in their first year. And every year since you started, it's been more. And I do have to stop and just think, I still don't know how this has happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been mental, mate. Like, and I like to stop and think about it, because it's just like, whew. Because I think for the first 3 years, I didn't stop and think about it, because I was too busy to think. But now I am as busy as I was then, but I'm not a busy fool. Like, I'm very organised. Everything's on point. Like, you know, we've worked a couple of times together. My feedback is probably quicker getting to you now than it was the first time. And I've got more clients. But this is because I've got better at what I'm doing. So I do have more time to sit and think and just like sometimes sit back and think, man, like this has been a mental journey. Like, and I know it hasn't, like, I don't think that's, you know, me being up myself. It's been mental. And I still, to this day, think like, what the fuck? Like when the coach approach lads said, we want to get you to speak at the next thing, I was thinking, are you fucking serious?
That's a surreal moment.
Yeah, massively. And then we've just actually launched our own seminar, which was a fuck. No one's going to come, and we've sold 50% of the tickets in the first day.
That's ace. And that's in Hull.
Yeah, don't ask. You coming?
Yeah, why not?
20th of July.
20th of July. I will be there.
It's a Saturday.
If there's still tickets, yeah.
Yeah, for running out.
I'll be right on it. Straight as soon as we finish the call, I'll be straight on it, mate. Don't worry.
Link in the bio. Yeah, so that was a pretty, like, you know, just being asked to do certain things, or even when I get like certain inquiries, I'm like, oh fuck, that's cool.
You've worked with some pretty like elite competitors, and as much as you've been bodybuilding for a while, and your physique has blown up recently, it's not like you're a top level bodybuilder yourself. So I think.
What are you trying to say?
Well, I'm not. I'm being polite about it here, mate.
Yeah, you're being honest, bro. Being honest.
Being honest, I mean, some people are just born for it. Some people aren't. You know.
Yeah.
And I think. Well, that's actually a fair question, because you're well aware of this yourself, and you've made comments to yourself. This is why I feel comfortable talking to you about it.
Yeah.
At what point did you go, like, as much as you still bodybuild and you throw everything at that as well, at what point did you go, okay, I'm not going to be as good at that as I am coaching, so I'm going to put more time and energy into coaching?
Probably from day one, bro.
From day one, okay.
Yeah, like I haven't taken a tub of Deludable. You know, I'm very aware of what my physique looks like, both in an off season and both on stage. And, you know, if I was to win a regional, I would have done very fucking well. Yeah. And it's probably not a lot of good entrants to the show. Very well aware of that, but I still love it. And I do think it directly correlates to your business as well. When I get in shape, bro, I get more inquiries.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. I think one of the questions we got asked in the story that I put up was like how to start up like a successful coaching business at 18 years old. And I kind of thought immediately in my head, I was like, if you're just starting out, I think the best thing you can do to start with is just get yourself in shape and then post that. And you'll probably get, because I'm thinking about like when I went from being like a skinny fat person and I just started going to the gym and I got myself in shape, the amount of fucking mates I had coming to me being like, oh, how did you do that? And then I helped them get in shape. So it's the same as, I think the first thing that you should be doing is just get yourself in shape. And then that's how
go and walk the walk for a bit.
Exactly.
And look at the top coaches and think, yeah, man, like, I want to live that life. Now you've got to go through the shit first, mate.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other questions I'll ask you is, because, like, what would you define as a bodybuilder, first off?
I know what this is kind of question going to be. Is like, you're not a bodybuilder unless you've competed. Bullshit.
Okay. So that's not the question, but it kind of, I was asking this first question to lead on to that. I get called a bodybuilder, but I've never competed. And I don't like being labeled as a bodybuilder. I don't disagree with it as such, but I feel like it's disrespectful because I'm surrounded by people that live that lifestyle and they put themselves on stage. And I feel like, yeah, okay, they're competitive bodybuilders. So in my head, I feel it's only fair labeling yourself as a bodybuilder when you're competitive.
Yeah, I get it. Mm-hmm. But when you actually dumb it down, bodybuilding is going to the gym and eating meals. And do you do that every day? Yeah, you do.
Yeah. This is my mate, Kami. He's a competitive bodybuilder and he's a boring cunt. He's a robot. He lives a lifestyle. Yeah, and we've had this discussion like several times. He's saying, as long as you eat your prescribed meals is what he calls it, and you train and you live that lifestyle like you are a bodybuilder. But for me, I don't know. I personally feel it's disrespectful to people that actually compete. The question that was asked was, what personality traits or mindsets do you feel that an elite level bodybuilder should have?
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I know.
Got a list as long as my arm in my head. Work ethic.
Okay.
Ability to follow what someone is telling you to do. Fucking hell. Like relentlessness work. Not just fucking giving up at the slightest hurdle.
Yeah.
You've got to be very strong-minded.
Yeah.
And
what do you mean by strong-minded?
because I see it all the time with check-ins, bro. Like one hiccup in someone's life, or I went to Mackey's because I failed my theory test for driving or something fucking absolute mundane. Yeah, and it's like, fuck this, I'm gonna fuck this up. Like, nothing gets in the way of your fucking mealtime and your fucking training. Nothing gets in the way. If you want to be elite level.
Yeah, yeah.
There is no off. It's, you're on all the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think they can do that. They can't.
Yeah, I think there needs to be an acceptance that you're going to live a very boring, I say boring lifestyle, a very tedious lifestyle, because
Routine.
Yes, it's not going to be boring because you fucking love it. It's enjoyable. But at the same time, you are doing the same shit day after day. You're eating the same shit day after day. And you need to accept the fact that in order to get to that elite level status, like, it's not going to be, you can still live a social life, I guess, but as you said, if certain things are coming in interrupting meal timings, quality sleep, if things like that, like they will be getting fucked off.
It's the willingness to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, without sounding too Jim Bro about it.
Yeah, it is, and there isn't balance. It's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
That's it. That's your life. If you want to be elite level.
Yeah. It's the same in any sport, I guess.
Yeah, of course and I think it's taken so far in the fucking bodybuilding world that it's like, oh, fucking balance. Go into any high level elite, none of them have that balance. Yeah. If you're an elite level swimmer, what do you think you do every day? You fucking swim. It's right though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
If you want to if you want to go and do really well at the Tour de France, probably going on a bike every day is going to help you.
Agreed.
Same for bodybuilding.
Yeah, I think the word balance in general is just kind of being, I don't know, people's interpretation of it is a bit skewed.
Yeah.
It's almost like, I feel like the word balance is now being used as having your cake and eating it too. There's no compromise. There's no, and this goes for lifestyle people as well at the same time. I think people, I don't know, want to be able to smash their bottle of Pinot Grigio like every second night, but still be losing, I don't know, 1 kilo every week, whatever. So yeah, I think there's, I mean, again, we're talking about elite level status there, so it's a bit different. But the word balance, I think, is just thrown around willingly. Yeah. I think you're a really good. Going back to that first question that I mentioned, you're probably a good person to ask. The 18-year-old lad, he's like, I'm 18 years old and I just want to start my coaching business. Like, what would you suggest?
If you're in a position to hire a coach that is a lot more knowledgeable than you, do that. And soak up every bit of knowledge that you can from that person. Ask the questions. Ask people. Don't feel like you're being a creep on Instagram, DMing people asking questions. Granted, if you just ask the same question to hundreds of people, you're probably going to get 100 different answers. Find the people that you enjoy and connect with well, and enjoy their content and stuff like that, and interact. Mm-hmm. Get a coach, learn from them, and do bodybuilding. Do it. Because walking the walk shows a lot. Mm-hmm. And the only way I got clients was from losing a shitload of body weight. And then people will say, hey, how did you do that? I'll tell you, but it's going to cost you. Mm. But at the start, coach people for free. I
took the words out of my mouth. I think the best thing you can do at the very beginning is get yourself in shape, but also coach people for free to get some fucking experience and learn how it all works. Learn how to work with people as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's bit of
But
solid
what I will
advice there.
say is, it's not as easy as it was.
As it was. What do you mean getting clients?
Yeah. There's a
How
million.
so?
There's a million one people to choose from.
Yeah, that's true. And okay, question for you: what do you think makes you personally stand out from the crowd? I know the answer, but
My personality.
yeah, 100%.
That's
I remember when I first hired you in 2022. I don't even think I looked at your results, man. I think I just saw your personality, saw that you, um, like were experienced, and I was like, I'm gonna have a conversation with this guy and see if we get on and he can help me.
Yeah.
And you were as much of a cunt as I am, but sound as fuck, and could actually have a human conversation. But it was definitely just the fact that you were unapologetically yourself and you had personality is what made you stand out to me personally.
I clocked on very early in this that my physique is not going to get me business, but I know that some people like my personality, so I kind of hone in on that and use it to my advantage.
I think it's one thing the fitness industry lacks massively is just personality.
Yeah.
Everyone is either so caught up in trying to please everyone, or being afraid of offending certain amount of people. And I get it at the beginning, you want to get clients in and you're scared of putting people off. So you're scared of just being yourself, but you just become beige. You just fucking blend in with the crowd and you don't stand out in any way, shape or form. So I think it's worth maybe rustling a few feathers, offending a few people, if it means just being yourself and attracting the people that are like you and you're going to work well with.
Yeah.
It also, like, this is me speaking from personal experience, when you try to put a bit of a mask on and pretend to be something that you're not, just out of, trying to please everyone or afraid of offending people, it makes you resent the whole part of the process, putting content out there, speaking to a camera. So yeah, I definitely think not have a personality, but just be unapologetically yourself.
That.
Yeah.
My because like, look, people can see straight through you, man. And one massive compliment to me that I've always had is if I'm at an expo or I'm at a show and people meet me for the first time and say, "You're exactly what you like online." Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, yeah, because that's me. And like I said, I realised pretty early on that I'm going to have to rely on my personality. And obviously, when you get busier, you can then rely on the results that you bring. Mm-hmm. Luckily, I can do both now.
Yes. Right. I think we'll wrap up there. Well, actually, next question, final question. We'll wrap up there. Any big plans where you want to take things?
Few things.
Willing to share any of that?
The seminar's the next big one for us.
Okay.
We've never done one of those. I'm not the biggest fan of public speaking. I absolutely shit myself doing it, but it always works out. So it's one of them. So I just got to do it. Throw myself in the deep end. Potentially more coaches next year.
Yes.
Just more of what we're doing now, mate. It works. Do you know what I mean? And
bigger and better.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it at the moment, and I might compete again next year.
I'm looking forward. You're significantly bigger than last time you were on stage, which isn't difficult, but
wow,
it's.
I was 190 pounds. I tell you,
and skin to the bone, though.
True.
You're very peeled, very peeled. So I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I think this is. I love seeing kind of not how hard you work, because it's very inspiring, but. You look fucking happy as well, man. Just like with you and Georgie, I love seeing that kind of content. I love seeing you doing wholesome shit on a Sunday. It's good to see someone with that level of work ethic and that level of succession, but also loving life at the same time.
Definitely loving life.
Social media. Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah.
Good.
We've got 3 holidays to go on in the next 6 weeks.
That's fucking ace. That's fucking ace.
So that's going to be cool. But it's also... I've learned that I can actually have fun.
Yeah.
Well, so, when I go Ibiza, I ain't going to be staying in a room. Do you know what I mean? Man's going to be on another planet. And she has definitely brought the fun side out of me again.
Yeah, that's good. She seems like a grafter as well, so...
Well, mate, saying that, it's like... when you said, oh, you know, you seem happy and your surroundings are better and stuff, like, Georgie genuinely makes me work harder.
I love that.
Because, I mean, she's on a call now.
Yeah.
She will say that I work... No, what does she say? She says, you don't work harder than me, but you're more successful.
Yeah, that's a winner though, is it not?
Yeah, for me.
Yeah,
For me.
yeah.
But I have never met anyone that has more of a work ethic than me, apart from Georgie. She fucking grafts. Like, she fucking works hard, man. And I can't be around that and not be giving it hell
Yeah.
in my own. Because, and that is the beauty with me and her, is like, you know, when you're with certain people, they don't, not necessarily bring you down, but they don't have that same mentality. So, oh, why are you doing that? Whereas George is like, yeah, let's do that. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's very inspiring to be around, mate, and it's definitely leveled me up again.
Would you say you're selective of who you spend your time with?
A fucking 1,000,000%.
Yeah, yeah, do.
Yeah, there's a reason why I only go out with certain people, because I'm probably going to come back from it motivated. Mm-hmm. You know, example, Rick from Strong.
Does he do that for you?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
You know, well, we went for lunch last week, and it was the day after he picked up his new Ferrari. You know, that's pretty motivating.
Yeah. Okay.
And he is also incredibly like me. He just doesn't give a fuck. Like, he has built his thing up from being him.
Yeah.
Unapologetically him. Like, he's worse than me, bro.
Yeah, I've seen a few bits from him, and it almost seems like you two could be cousins.
Yeah, all brothers.
Yeah, okay.
He's just the better looking one, obviously.
Yeah, more hair too. Even though it's just a strip, but there's more of it.
Not hard. Yeah. But yeah, 100%. Like, I think what you surround yourself with is very important.
100%. Yeah, I completely agree. Environment. I think back when I was like in my early 20s, life was just drugs and alcohol. Man, I had multiple people in my circle around me, whatever. I've got like 2 mates now, and I'm much happier, more motivated and driven, and significantly more positive than I was back then. So I think, when it comes to your environment, I think quality over quantity is definitely underrated.
My positivity level at the moment is unrivaled.
Unrivaled.
And it just translates into everything you do.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Right. Thank you very much for this, dude. We'll wrap things up there. I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
Pleasure.
Yeah, and I'll catch up with you on Thursday.
Shit checking inbound.
Yeah.